Episode number 834. Identify your most profitable client.
You're listening to the official BNI podcast with BNI founder and Chief Visionary Officer, Dr. Ivan Misner. Stay tuned for networking and referral marketing tips from the man who's been called the father of modern networking, along with suggestions and insights into getting the most from your membership in the world's largest networking organization, BNI.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the official BNI podcast. I'm Priscilla Rice, and I'm coming to you from Live Oak Recording Studio in Berkeley, California, and I'm joined on the phone today by the founder and the Chief Visionary Officer of BNI, Dr. Ivan Misner. Hello, Ivan. How are you, and where are you?
I am in Madrid, Spain this week for the BNI International Convention. Priscilla, I love going to international conventions for BNI because it's like going to a United Nations event where everybody likes each other. It's incredible. There are several thousand people here, and I just love coming to them. We've been doing conventions since 1990, so it's exciting.
I got to attend one once, and I loved it too. I feel just like you do right now.
Yeah, that's really good. So, we're talking about how many years we've been doing conventions, and my guest today is from the founding region. He is the executive director from the founders region. I love the fact that they named the original region the founders region. His name is Mike Adray, and Mike joined BNI as a member in 2010. After being invited to a startup meeting by a complete stranger, which I think is funny. And he planned to use BNI to market his handyman business. And after taking all the advanced training courses offered in his region, Mike was able to stop all other forms of advertising because BNI accounted for most all of his new business. In 2012, he joined the regional team as a director consultant, supporting 4 chapters. And that's where he really discovered his passion for BNI. And today, Mike is living that passion as the executive director for BNI's founding region, the region that I started BNI in, and he supports over 375 members in this region. Mike Adray, welcome to BNI Podcast.
Thank you, Ivan. Really looking forward to speaking with you today.
Well, it's great to have you on, and I love the topic, identify your most profitable client, and it came as a result of a conversation that we had with a fellow member of BNI, and she's been on this podcast in the past, and it was that conversation that led to this podcast. So it really is, in a way, it's about VCP, visibility, credibility, profitability. But once you've achieved that credibility, what do you do next to get to that profitability in terms of working with your fellow BNI members?
That was the exact question that came up between this member and I. She had been in BNI for I think 15 years at that point in time. And
the member, by the way, is Christine Bond, and Christine's been on BNI podcast before.
Absolutely, yes. So Christine and I had a one-to-one, and she'd been in for 15 years, been a director for many years, very successful massage therapy business in BNI, and we were just talking about her business and how she could maybe take it to another level. And she says, gosh, I don't know if I could do that because I'm really doing well. And so I said, well, let me use this worksheet. It's called the One-to-One Referral Source Worksheet that was introduced to me by a director from my past, Gary Reeves, out of the SoCal BNI region. And this opened up my eyes to what we might be leaving on the table as far as asking for our most profitable clients or customers. And so I took Christine through this worksheet and asked her all the questions on it and really honed in on who was her most profitable client. And it took a little bit of work to get her there, but once we identified her most profitable client and then answered the rest of the questions on the worksheet, she actually changed her weekly presentations and stopped asking for people who want massages because she was already getting those kind of referrals.
Mm-hmm.
So instead, we crafted a new ask for the very specific type of client that she wanted, which was a couples massage, professional couples, looking for some greater self-care. And she had some of those clients and they absolutely were the most profitable. So I asked her, I said, why don't you just ask for more of those kind of clients?
Yeah.
And so she did. And when she did, her thank you for closed business went well over her goal of $100,000 a year, and actually got up to about $150,000 a year from BNI referrals by themselves.
Mm.
Mm.
That's impressive. That's very impressive. And Christine's an amazing massage therapist. I've known her for years, and she was the massage therapist for my late wife, Elizabeth, who said she was amazing. So it's good advice that you gave her to help build her own referral business.
Yeah, and then the worksheet was the key to it because it really hones us in on the questions we make. We ask the member, and by the way, the worksheet has to be, it can't be filled out by yourself. Somebody has to interview you, because if you fill it out for yourself, you're just going to put down what you know, and what will be missing is what you don't know.
Yeah, it's good to have a conversation with the person. Now, the worksheet and the instructions are going to be included in this podcast. So look for the PDF that is included with this podcast, and I'll have the instructions and the worksheet with it.
Yeah, and the real important thing to remember too with this worksheet is this is not where you start your relationship with somebody in doing one-to-ones. You
Right.
absolutely need to complete the gains profile and work through your one-to-ones using the gains profile to really build a basis for a strong relationship. And then you are able to have these more in-depth conversations and ask these types of probing questions that will come from the worksheet.
Yeah, now most people haven't sat down to figure out what clients are their most profitable. And this is an area that you can get really specific about in your asks. Can you give any other examples other than the one with Christine that you have seen that have worked effectively?
Yeah, so we've had, I've worked with members that, for example, that do website design. And, typically when you hear a member who does website design, they'll say, oh, I can make websites for anyone. And, I would ask that member, well, okay, yes, you can design a website for anyone, but I'm guessing that there's those websites that you like to design, that you love to design, that probably are more profitable than others. And of course, they said, well, yeah. And I said, great. Tell me about that client. Who is that client? What do they do? What's their industry? What makes that website design more profitable for you? Mm-hmm. And so we kind of then reverse engineer it so we can create more of those same kind of clients by using the questions on the worksheet. And then the real important things on the worksheet are to tell us what to look and listen for. And then the number one thing I see members leaving off their conversation, once I tell you what to look and listen for, I need to give you a conversation starter so that you can lead to the referral. And that's where most members fail to train their referral partners, is that question that leads to the referral.
Talk about that some more. What's that look like?
So it's a how question typically. It has to be an open-ended question. So if I just say, hey, I notice your website isn't looking that great. Would you want to meet somebody that could make it better? That will turn most people off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? Because I'm already into sales mode, and people shut down when you start selling to them. But if I come up with a question that's more like, maybe they've complained about, business isn't that great, or they'd like it to be better, then I could ask a question like, so tell me how that is affecting your overall business. Like, how is your website experience affecting your business? So I want them to tell me a story. I want them to paint the picture. I often say, think about it like you're laying on a therapist's couch. Tell me how that makes you feel. And when they do that, then you can say, after they've shared all of the pain, the suffering, the grief, whatever it is that they're experiencing, all you have to say is, oh my gosh, if I knew somebody that could help you with that, would you want to meet them? And now I can tee up the referral.
Yeah, that's a great segue. So I'm looking at your instructions for the One-to-One Referral Source Worksheet and the actual worksheet. And, from my perspective, this is not BNI 101. This is like BNI 401 or 501. This is more advanced. And I think that's important because, especially people who've been in BNI for a while, they're looking for things that are more advanced that will take them to the next level. First, two-part question real quick because we're almost out of time. Would you agree with that assessment?
Absolutely, 100%.
And second, last question for you. Is there anything else about the instructions and the worksheet that you would like to share before we wrap up?
Absolutely. So once you get through the worksheet and you've identified a ton of referral source partners, you have to complete the homework, which is the spreadsheet. And there's an example on the last page. And if you complete the spreadsheet and you do it well, you can likely have at least a year's worth of weekly presentations that will be different, unique, and train your members over time for your ideal referral partners.
Is that spreadsheet, was that a Word file or an Excel file? I forget.
It's a PDF example, but I set it up in an Excel file.
Send me the Excel file if you don't mind, and we'll post the Excel file in so people can add to it.
Absolutely.
Sounds good. Mike, any last thing before I turn it over to Priscilla?
I just want to say thank you to you, Ivan. It's been an amazing journey so far with me with BNI. I'm really excited about what we're doing in the founding region, and I just can't wait to see what great things we are all going to accomplish together in BNI.
Well, Mike, I really appreciate you being on BNI Podcast, and I thank you for everything you're doing in the founding region of BNI.
Of course, thank you.
Yeah, Priscilla, back to you.
Okay, great. Thank you both so much for the great information. This podcast is sponsored by MeisnerAudioPrograms.com. These audio programs will provide you with the tools and the inspiration to powerfully enhance your BNI experience. So check out the great material that's available to you at MeisnerAudioPrograms.com. And then use the promo code IVAN50 for 50% off of everything. All of the proceeds go to the BNI Foundation. Thank you so much for listening. This is Priscilla Rice, and we look forward to having you join us again next week for another exciting episode of the official BNI podcast.